Welcome to Fundamentals of Management. I'm Lionel Skinner, the Unit Coordinator for Fundamentals of Management. To make your learning more enjoyable, we've revamped this whole unit. There won't be any face-to-face lectures. Why? Because all lectures are pre-recorded online. If you don't understand or want to clarify issues raised in the ilectures, you can do so in your workshops. We've done away with tutorials and replaced them with workshops which are designed to be fun and interactive. Please attend the workshops. We found out from our analysis many students who failed this unit last year did not attend their workshops. So I'm urging you, please attend the workshops. The workshops are going to be filled with many fun activities. What's exactly going to happen? Well, among other things, you'll be watching videos and answering questions about the video you just watched. There'll also be self-assessment tests in the form of quizzes that you'll be taking. After taking these tests, you'll hopefully learn more about your own strengths and weaknesses. So, why did we change the delivery of this unit? Well, if you look at the learning pyramid, it appears that you guys only retain about 5% of what I'm now saying. Many of my words appear to go into one ear and out the next. I don't know about you, but as a lecturer, I'm worried about this. That's why we've created workshops, where you'll be working and discussing theories, concepts, and ideas in groups. Now, when you work in groups, you'll also be teaching and learning from each other, and this increases your rate of retention. So please attend the workshops. Your attendance will assist in learning and, more importantly, retaining new knowledge. So, what's Fundamentals of Management all about? Well, this unit aims to discuss management theories and concepts. For example, why do managers make the decisions they do? How do managers arrive at their decisions? So to answer these questions, we'll be analyzing management thought and practices and also look at how organizations are run. Now, can you provide me with an example of a manager? I'll give you a few moments to think. Well, one of my favorite managers is this guy here on the left, who's smiling and holding a stewardess uniform. Who is he? He's Richard Branson. Oh, now, he's Sir Richard Branson, the man behind the Virgin Group of companies. The Virgin Group runs hundreds of companies. One of them is called an airline called Virgin Australia. Now, I've got a question for you. What do you think it takes to run an airline? Do you think Sir Richard Branson actually knows how to fix or service an Airbus or Boeing jet engine if there's a problem? Probably not. Does he know how to employ and manage people to fix or service an aeroplane's engine? Definitely yes. Sir Richard Branson is good at that. That's why he's successful. He knows how to hire the correct people, manage them, motivate them to give their best to the company. Now, that's the job of a manager. Now, why is Sir Richard Branson holding a stewardess uniform? Well, that's because he had to dress up as an air hostess and serve passengers on Air Asia after losing a bet with Air Asia's owner, the guy here on the right, Tony Fernandes. Richard Branson, the owner of the Virgin Racing Formula One team, had bet with Lotus racing boss Tony Fernandes over whose team would finish highest in the 2010 championships. Whoever lost the bet would have to dress up as a woman and act as an air hostess on the winner's flight. Well, we know now who won that bet. The definition of management, if you are asked this in the exam, well, management is the planning, organizing, leading and controlling of human and other resources to achieve organizational goals effectively and efficiently. This is very important, guys, to understand and know the four functions of management, which is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, or POLC in short. The person who developed the 4 functions of management is Frenchman Henri Fayol. Many researchers describe Henri Fayol as the father of management. Why? Because he gave the world the 4 functions of management, which is PLOC: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Let's take a look at a video that describes the evolution of management over the years.
This video clip follows the development of management thought and practice as the work environment changed, followed by an increase in production. The segment outlines 4 major approaches to management: the classical, behavioral, systems, and contingency theories.
For centuries, scientists have been following the behavior of workers and managers. The understanding and analysis of this behavior grew into a new field of study: management thought. Management thought is a relatively new discipline. Over the past century, its modern practice has grown out of the influence of social, economic, and political forces. It has also grown from the influence of many researchers and practitioners, such as Frederick Taylor, Elton Mayo, and W. Edwards Deming. By the late 1800s, America had become the manufacturing capital of the world. Mass production techniques enabled companies to turn out more products at a lower cost than ever before. The sky was the limit. Improvement in assembly line technology led to large-scale production of a wide variety of material goods. These technological advancements came about at such an accelerated pace that a certain degree of chaos developed. Most businessmen of the time perceived this chaos in terms of a national productivity problem. Businesses weren't as efficient as they should have been. 3 issues formed the basis for the problem. First was the problem of collaboration between people and machines. Many factory workers were afraid that substituting machine power for human power would result in the elimination of jobs. Workers were also physically afraid of large, noisy, dirty, and dangerous factory machines. The second obstacle was a general inexperience in running large-sized factories and organizations that could produce large volumes of products to lower the cost per item. Because owners and employees weren't used to working in large groups, different authority structures were needed. Standard operating procedures had to be developed and implemented. Whatever efficiencies these procedures brought about were offset in part by an overall depersonalization in the workplace. Bigger businesses were just having bigger problems. The more managers began to realize how costly these problems were becoming, the more they searched for solutions. The search for solutions provided the basis for the development of the 4 major theories or approaches to management. The classical approach, beginning in the late 1800s, the behavioral approach in the early 1900s, the systems approach in the 1930s and 40s, and the contingency approach, a theory that gained prominence in the 1960s.
Let's bring Taylor up in the 1890s.
The classical approach to management emphasizes the manager's role in the formal hierarchy of authority. It focuses on the task, machines, and systems needed to perform the task efficiently. The classical approach has 2 components: scientific management and administrative management. An effort to blend the study and functions of engineering with those of business economics came to be known as shop management. Shop management gave way to an entirely new discipline known as scientific management. Scientific management emphasizes improving the efficiency of work by the systematic and scientific study of work methods, tools, and performance standards. Frederick Taylor is remembered for his contributions to management thought in the first part of the 20th century. As a result of his experience in the steel mills of Philadelphia, Taylor concluded that the productivity problem of the day was due to lack of management attention to workers. This contradicted the beliefs of most businessmen in the early 1900s, who blamed the productivity problem on the general laziness of workers. Taylor's theory was based mainly on his observations of soldiering among steel mill workers. Soldiering is the systematic slowdown in work by laborers in order to keep their employers ignorant of how fast the work can be done. Taylor believed that the deceptive practice of soldiering existed for three reasons. First, management didn't know how much work could be done. Second, many laborers thought if they worked too fast, they would work themselves out of a job. And third, workers didn't know how to do their jobs efficiently to begin with. Taylor blamed these problems on poor management. According to Taylor, the role of management is to 1. Develop the one best way to perform any task. 2. Scientifically select, train, teach, and develop each worker. 3. Cooperate with workers and provide an incentive to ensure that the work is done according to the one best way. And 4. Divide the work and the responsibility equally between management and labor. The other arm of the classical approach to management theory is administrative management. This approach emphasizes that management, as a function, can be applied to any size or kind of organization. Administrative management theories focus on the coordination of the workings of an entire organization, not just organizing the work of individual workers. Classical management theories are broadly grounded in the assumption that work is a rational undertaking that is done in order to make money, and given that, the behavior of people at work will be fairly predictable and easy to understand. The trouble is, that isn't always true. Work often isn't a rational, logical, or reasonable process, and to many people, work is more than just a means of making money. The need to study and understand human behavior and look at management in this light began to develop in the early 1900s. The behavioral approach is a view of management that stresses understanding the importance of people's needs and attitudes within formal organizations.
And what we'll do, we'll bring up the Hawthorne studies, if you would, that took place here in Chicago in the 30s.
Beginning in 1924, a group of researchers from MIT and Harvard, led by Professor Elton Mayo, began conducting experiments at Western Electric's Hawthorne plant in Cicero, Illinois. They didn't know it at the time, but their research would span 9 years before they could come to a conclusion.
We were trying to find out what circumstances in the workplace had the greatest effect on worker output. We experimented with changes in lighting, number of hours the employees worked, rest periods, incentive pay, and hot lunches. It seemed that none of these factors had any direct link to output. But we found that when being interviewed, the workers lost their shyness and fear. They began to feel valued by their co-workers and supervisors. Our study showed that good social relationships in the workplace is what produces more output.
The Hawthorne experiments marked a change in the direction of management theory and practice. The systems approach to management theory views organizations as sets of interrelated parts to be managed as a whole with the purpose of achieving a common goal. As systems, organizations consist of inputs, transformation processes, outputs, and feedback. One of the great management thinkers of this half-century is W. Edwards Deming. Deming has been credited with, among other things, resurrecting Japan's economy in the years that followed the Second World War.
Bring up Deming. Okay.
He devoted much of his life to spreading his message of continuous improvement and statistical process control to improve quality. Deming thought it was necessary to integrate the theories that came earlier into an approach in which all dimensions of the organization and its environment are considered as part of one system.
About 3.5 years ago, Gordon read an article in Harvard Business Review on Dr. Deming and his 14 points, and he showed it to myself and Dick Bentley. We met with some people, and we attended the Deming 4-day seminar and began to get a picture of what this possibility could mean for the company.
Some of Deming's theories enabled Marshall Industries, a California electronics company, to make a commitment to total quality within their organization.
We see the business as very dependent. Each system in our company is dependent on the next system. Both our suppliers, our customers, and our internal customer relationships have a tremendous dependency on one another. This requires everybody to work together like an orchestra or a football team, where each person has a job to do, but no one job is more important than the other.
During the 1960s, the phrase, "it depends," began to appear regularly in management writing. It depends characterized the contingency approach. The contingency approach emphasizes identifying the key variables in each situation, understanding the relationships among the variables, and recognizing the causes and effects of managerial decisions. Generally, the contingency approach is considered to be an outgrowth of the systems approach. From the classical approach to the contingency approach, and from Frederick Taylor to W. Edwards Deming, management thinking has evolved and improved. As ideas change and new theories are developed, future generations will benefit from continued efforts to improve the quality of work and the quality of life in the workplace.